One of the largest game animals found in the interior. To the far right is the hide of a grizzly bear. In the middle of this is the moose, and closest to me is the hide of a caribou. But I'm sure you've all already recognized our life-size example of a full-grown bull moose. He was taken just north of us in the White Mountains and has a trophy-sized 73.5-inch rack. While the caribou travel in herds, the moose are solitary. Therefore, the Athabascans became very skilled at calling the moose. One method was to take the shoulder blade from a previous kill and scrape it up and down a tree, like the lion will demonstrate. Man, what a skilled hunter. Now, there is a second way to call a bull moose, and that's verbally. Hunters would use a birch bark megaphone like this to amplify an imitation of the moose's mating call. Now, the moose's mating call is an attractive, deep, guttural, grunting sound. And I'm supposed to ask if you would like a demonstration.
Yes, of course.
Delana will show you.
Here, Boosie, Boosie, Boosie!
Once the moose had been called into the area, the hunter would then take a bone-tipped spear like this and provoke the animal to charge. Then when the moose reared up to stomp on the hunter, he'd then crouch down and the moose would be forced to impale itself on the tip of the spear. Then, all Delana had to do was skillfully roll out from underneath that heavy flying animal.
Wow.
While it was the men's job to take down the animal, it became the women's job to tan the hides. She would start the tanning process by taking the sharpened shin bones from a moose and a caribou kill and scraping off all the flesh and hair. This would then leave her with a stiff piece of material called rawhide. Rawhide was extremely useful, especially when cut into thin strips called babiche. Babiche can be used as lashings to web together snowshoes like you saw at your last stop, or as an all-purpose rope. While it was very useful, you can probably tell that this here is way too stiff to be made into clothing. To continue the tanning process, the woman would then soak this in a solution of fermented moose brains and water. This milky fluid had acidic enzymes in it that would break down the tough fibers in the raw hide. My grandma always told me that each moose has enough brains to tan its own hide. The woman would then scrape the hide using a tool called a klobas. The klobas closely resembles the Eskimo ulu, except for its serrated edge. Then, after days and days, or maybe even weeks of soaking, scraping, and wringing that hide, she would finally be left with a soft piece of material like this. And then, to preserve all of her hard work, the woman would then smoke this hide over a campfire. You can always tell a traditional native tanned hide by the varying tan colors and the rich, smoky smell. Now I'd like to share some traditional garments with you. This is a maiden's dress. And this is a ceremonial chief's coat. These are both made from tanned moose hide using the same tanning process that I just explained. After Western contact, the Athabascans began to trade furs for beads and became very well known for their intricate and beautiful beadwork designs. All of the designs have their own meaning. And on the maiden's dress, the flowers are made to resemble flowers typically found around her village. Here, we see the bluebell and the Alaska state flower, the forget-me-not. The floral designs on the chief's coat are made to represent animal tracks in the hopes of bringing the hunter good luck on the trap line. Both of these garments are trimmed with beaver fur, and the buttons on the chief's coat are made from cross-sections of moose antler. And the buttons on the maiden's dress are made from cross-sections of caribou antler. Now I think you're all really going to like this next piece. Joanna here is wearing an Athabascan Yukon-style women's winter parka. It is all traditional except for this big zipper running down the middle. That's so we can get in and out of it quickly on these hot summer days. Traditionally, it would be sewn together and worn pullover style. The main body of the parka is made of muskrat, and it's trimmed with beaver fur and river otter. The black and white designs here are made of calf skin. Now, Delana is going to show us a sunshine ruff. The outer part of the ruff is made of timber wolf, and the inner part, closest to Delana's face, is from wolverine. As I mentioned earlier, wolverine has that natural oil in its fur that would prevent your breath from freezing to it. Any extra pieces will be made into tassels like these, which are wolverine tipped with timber wolf fur. Delana would sew these onto her parka to show what a great skilled hunter her man is, and how he was able to catch the tricky wolverine. Now Delana is going to show us the designs on the back. Beadwork designs and sewing techniques are passed down mother to daughter, generation after generation. Each family has their own designs, and if Delana were to travel to another village, they would be able to tell where she is from just by looking at the back of her parka. Thank you, Delana.
How long did it take you to make this?
Now, if you didn't get the picture that you wanted, don't worry. Delana here will be here in a few minutes to model that parka for you when I finish talking. Some interesting facts about that parka. It weighs about 13 pounds and is made for 40 below weather, so it gets very warm on a day like today. It took 6 months to make and is appraised for about $18,000 to $20,000. It's also getting very close to 30 years old, so we ask that if you come to see the parka after the tour, that you please don't touch it. Now, it has been a pleasure sharing our native culture with you today. Both Delana and I are very proud of our Alaska Native heritage, and we hope we left you with the understanding that the Athabascans are a very skilled and resourceful group of people who overcame harsh conditions in order to survive. Today, we face the challenge of living a Western lifestyle while trying to keep our native heritage alive. We do this by going to school and getting the best education we can, and spending time with our elders to learn about their stories, histories, and traditions. Now, before I let you go, I should tell you some important things are. All the way down that path to the right, it's a dog yard where a handler from Trailbreaker Kennels will be. The reindeer will be at that last stop that we just came from. And that cabin directly behind us is the post office, where you can get your granite book personalized. And beyond that is fish camp, where Shondine will be to talk about fish camp life. But most importantly, when you hear the boat whistle, that's your cue to get back to the boat as quickly as you can, or else we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Again, it has been a pleasure. Thank you. Or my native language, Tegu.